Good morning, Raider Nation. Raider D here out at the Raider Ranch, and it's pretty cold and windy outside, so the audio would have been terrible. So just going to shoot this video right here because I have breaking news. As of last night, talking to one of my guys with the Raiders, the report going around inside that building right now is that Ben Johnson has been offered a whopping $92 million deal to come and be the guy, the head coach for many years to come. Now, I'm thinking that because this is similar to the Jon Gruden deal, this has got to be at least an 8 or 9 year deal that they are offering him. And as Hondo Carpenter reported, and his reports are pretty accurate, that according to his sources, the money will not be the issue. If Ben Johnson does not come here, if he chooses to go to a different team, it will not be because Mark Davis tried to cheap him out, like with Cliff Kingsbury last year in the OC position. This time around, you have Tom Brady in his ear. And remember, Tom Brady has a partner. So Tom Brady technically only owns 5% of the Raiders. His partner owns the other 5%, but he effectively controls 10%. But his partner is in it for the money, and he wants to make sure that the Raiders are a winning organization. Same thing with Tom Brady. And so because Tom Brady now has so much influence with the Raiders and with Mark Davis, money's not an issue. And they've made that very, very clear. And so it's not surprising to me the number that came out. $92 million is the contract offer according to inside sources with the Raiders right now. I don't even have my tripod, so excuse me for making this a little bit shaky, but I wanted to get this news out to you as quickly this morning as I possibly could. So I'm not going to dig through the stuff to try to find the tripod right now. I'm just going to shoot this video for you. Here's what this tells me. It tells me a couple of different things, and I know there's still some naysayers out there who think that Ben Johnson absolutely will not come to the Raiders, and we're going to address that here in a minute as to why they're wrong. But what this number says to me is that the period of instability with the Raiders is now over. Remember, listen, Jon Gruden, if the emails had not come out and he was not, sabotaged by the NFL, he would still be the coach of the Raiders. I guarantee it. You don't give a coach a 10-year, $100 million deal if you're going to just voluntarily cut him. So the instability that we've had since Jon Gruden had to step down because of the email controversy is the reason why we've had so much instability. And what this tells me that you're offering this guy $92 million, it's got to be at least an 8-year contract. You're saying that for the next several years, Ben Johnson's going to be the head coach, assuming that the deal doesn't fall through like it did with Cliff Kingsbury last year. But again, as I reported yesterday, it is all but a done deal. They have an agreement that Ben Johnson will accept the deal. Right now, they're just going through the motions with Chicago and whatnot. But Ben Johnson, nobody has offered him this amount of money. Nobody has offered him this length of a contract. And why would Ben Johnson want to come to the Raiders over a team like the Chicago Bears with Caleb Williams, the #1 overall draft pick? And they have some weapons over there on the offense for Ben Johnson to work with. Well, here's the #1 reason. And so for all the naysayers who saying, you're crazy, he's not going to pass up on Caleb Williams. He passed up on going to Washington and Jayden Daniels, and look at how that's turned out. Yes, I understand that. Let me just say, Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels are two totally different quarterbacks. They're not the same. Jayden Daniels is much better on script than Caleb Williams is. And that's the type of quarterback that Ben Johnson wants. He wants a Jared Goff type of quarterback. He wants a very cerebral, smart quarterback that can run a very complex offense. This is like Josh McDaniels' offense was unnecessarily complex in its verbiage. Ben Johnson, from what I understand, his offense is very complex, but it's not complex with the verbiage. So it doesn't take somebody with a 4.0 college GPA to figure out his offense, but the scheme is very complicated. And so you still need a smart quarterback who is able to handle that, i.e., a guy like Aiden O'Connell makes sense for Ben Johnson, because when you look at Jared Goff and you look at Aiden O'Connell, pretty similar numbers, pretty similar style quarterback. They're not uber athletic. I would say Jared Goff's probably a little bit more athletic than Aiden O'Connell, but Aiden O'Connell is a very smart quarterback. And if you're giving a guy a 8, 9, 10-year contract at $92 million, you're saying, listen, come and work with Aiden O'Connell. Maybe we end up getting Shedeur Sanders at pick number 6. Maybe we try to trade up for Shedeur Sanders if that's the guy that you like. But if it doesn't work out this year or next year, no worries. You've got a long-term contract. You're not going anywhere, because we would owe you way too much money to fire you in the next 2 seasons if you're not taking us to a Super Bowl. So what it does is it tells Ben Johnson, I have absolutely guaranteed money. I am going to get paid $92 million. I have time to fix this offense. And the offense has some really good key pieces. One thing that's really intriguing for a Ben Johnson is that you have the best tight end in all of the NFL in Brock Bowers, who is only going into his second year in the NFL, just going to continue to get better. That is a key piece that you can build around. Now, with that being said, you do need to build around a quarterback. And if it's AOC this coming year, maybe you go out and you get another quarterback. Maybe you try and go and get a Sam Darnold. Maybe the Raiders make a play for Sam Darnold. Because of how poorly he played in his past 2 games, maybe Sam Darnold's going to be affordable. Maybe you pick him up for $30 million a year and you give him a 3-year contract. That would be something that Ben Johnson could certainly work with, because, again, Sam Darnold, another first-round draft pick quarterback who finally started to blossom this year in the right system. Could he do that in a complex system with Ben Johnson? Sure he could. I think he could get you enough to get you to playoffs. I don't think Sam Darnold's going to get you to a Super Bowl, but I think he could get you to a playoff. I think the same thing with Aiden O'Connell under Sam Darnold. The most important thing to remember is this, that if Ben Johnson comes here, he has always, in the 5 years he's been there with the Detroit Lions, they have been tops in the NFL in offensive scoring points. And even in that loss in the playoff against Washington, he still put up 30 points despite his quarterback turning the ball over 4 times, 3 interceptions and a fumble. So for me, it kills 2 birds with 1 stone. You've fixed the offensive coordinator situation, you've fixed the head coach situation, and you've also, I guess you've killed 3 birds with 1 stone, because you fixed the instability situation. Giving this guy $92 million in a contract that is spanning at least 8 or 9 years means that the Raiders will have stability for the forthcoming future. Now, again, the ink has not been even wetted yet. The contract is not signed. They only have a verbal agreement, according to sources within the Las Vegas Raiders right now. If Ben Johnson signs that paper and he becomes the Raiders head coach for the next several years, you can expect the Raiders offense is going to light it up much more than it has in the past. The Raiders finally have stability. Max Crosby's going to be happy, and we should start making the playoffs. I know we have Denver. I know we have LA. I know we have KC to contend with. But I think that the Raiders can definitely contend once you have a guy like Ben Johnson calling that offense. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. See you guys in the next video. Let's go, Raiders!